I don't understand why OBS does that now.
You all right, Mark?
Yeah, good luck all.
I was saying, how you doing, Mark?
First time already. I'm nervous, that's why. This track is not my friend, so...
User joined your channel.
Alright, let's see. Wow, that is a huge gap. That's a surprising gap. Alright, let's get some practice in our race setup here. Give us a good idea of how much grip is on the track, or isn't, depending. Somebody's already slid around turn 2. Love being able to see those slide, those tire marks on the track. Dangerous sets of corners, those two Degners. I love that you can see the name when they go across the bridge there. Glad at least getting a little bit of practice in before qualifying. I just wanted to, more than anything, I needed to be nice to my eyes, so I wanted to not get too much practice in. Unfortunately, if you miss that Casio triangle, it's pretty tough to safely get back on track there. It'd be nice if there were tire barriers there. Sort of help you see where that part of the track was. It's pretty difficult to see without those. Definitely not as much rubber down on track as there was yesterday when I was doing practice with the AI on there. So it is going to be a concern. Probably won't have the correct, quote-unquote, correct amount of grip until like halfway through the race. So definitely have to take that into consideration. Obviously taking it a bit easy at the moment. Sort of getting around, and the other thing is I want to check the fuel I'm using per lap. See what sort of time I get out of it. One of the toughest parts about Spoon is there's just no brake markers going into it. So it's 100% feel of when you start your braking. So it's really easy to get it wrong multiple times in a row. Yeah, just lifting isn't quite enough for 130R. Interesting to see where I end up qualifying. I'm guessing it'll be about... I guess there's only 13 people in here. That's disappointing. We just keep losing people. Hey, mites. Or meats, whichever it is. Oh, man. I'm not in my rhythm at all. Or bike works. That works just as well. Obviously, I am on race fuel right now, so I'm not expecting to be as fast as the quickest guys. Still braking a little bit early, actually, for that hairpin. As weird as that feels to say. That's realistically a 2:08.4 for my first hot lap is not that bad. Considering my fastest was what, like a 2:05 something, and my average was like a 2:06.7, something like that. So just immediately doing a 2:08.4, but it's not that bad. It is unbelievable how quickly this game ruins my eyes. I'm genuinely gonna have to start looking into something because it's, for hour-and-a-half races, it's just hard to deal with. I almost wonder if there's some post-process injection effects I can get that would help with it. Because it's not unbearable, but it becomes... I mean, once I get like 45 minutes into the race, it gets to the point where I really can't see very much in the rearview mirror. Because it's just a big blur. Which is sort of dangerous, which I don't like. I never like being dangerous. So I'm just gonna have to do some investigating this weekend, I think, and mess with some settings. I mean, because realistically, my monitors are pretty low on brightness and have drastically reduced blue light output, and I have the BlueTech lenses, so it shouldn't be anywhere near the issue it is anymore. And the weird thing is, I can play other games for extended periods of time, where I actually sit both closer and further from the screen, depending on if I'm using a controller or not, and it doesn't affect me the same way. I've tried moving my monitors back and forth. Like, I've tried having the monitor as far back as I can put it. That actually made it worse. Right now I have it as close as I can stand having it. And that's actually made it quite better, but it's still just really frustrating to deal with. And a little loose second part of Spoon. That was a really good run out though. Right on the pace I want to be. This is really good. To be able to hit this pace this early. Really, really good for me. That's some good race pace. I don't know if I could do that consistently, but that's real good for me. Who would have thought practice actually pays off? Who would have ever guessed? It's not like there's a billion different sayings regarding that exact idea. I do really like the setup though. The setup feels really nice and stable. This is about the only corner it really sort of pushes through. The rest of them I can pull it right back in line just by lifting a little bit. And that little lift gets the front to really dig in for me. And then these two corners are just tough no matter what you do, really. Somebody blew that braking zone. Has a big ol' inside tire lockup. We'll probably transition pretty quickly here. Like one of the last people out on track. Blew that entry a little bit. It's so hard to use the right amount of brake for the second part of spoon there. If you use too much, the car just immediately over-rotates. You're screwed. So it should transition here into a qualifying.
Good luck.
Yeah, good luck.
Microphone muted.
I actually want to make sure I mute my microphone on TeamSpeak so I don't accidentally hit it. Because there's been times in the World Racers races where I've accidentally hit the button and just
I just got to stop and go, Kevin. Is it will it still be active?
Did you get that during practice?
Yeah, I was just about to leave the pits and the lights were on red.
Did that happen during practice or qualifying session?
Practice.
Okay, so yeah, the penalty will be gone now then.
Okay.
You confirm that when you start driving out and have a look at the penalty menu, tell you if you've got any or not.
And you have a little yellow symbol on the position where it is.
Yeah, no,
I have it
penalties
on the
no.
speed.
Okay, cool.
I didn't know that it cleared penalties after sessions. I wonder if that's a server setting. Because in single player, I don't think it does that. Now the car will be much looser now. With so much less fuel in it. This Viper does not like being light on fuel, at least with my setup. Really, really doesn't. Not to mention the fact that the track does not have as much rubber down as it did yesterday. By any stretch of the imagination. Alright, so a 205.5 is what I did with race fuel. Let's see what I can do on qualifying fuel and qualifying tires. Again, the tough part is this car is really not anywhere near as easy to control in the qualifying trim. And the funny thing is I don't even take downforce off for qualifying, I just take the fuel out. And it immediately makes it so much more agile, but so much touchier. I have to be more careful on throttle, on braking. But particularly in the middle of the corner, it wants to brake free a lot more when it's this light. On the bright side, I'm not dropping frames, so it seems like I just have to start every day now by starting up OBS and then immediately killing it and starting it again. I have to look if there's any potential beta updates for OBS to get it to stop being crap. It's really frustrating to have to do. Well, it's not frustrating, it's annoying. But on the bright side, at least I know for a fact that restarting OBS fixes it now. Ah, that was not ideal. It's not a very good first corner sequence. It wasn't atrocious, but it wasn't very great either. but these super softs wear so quickly. They do have an immense amount of grip in them though. Once they get nice and hot, they just stay so grippy. The other trick is getting them to up to the temperature they want to be, because they want to be a little bit hotter than the softs do. You got to push them pretty hard on the outlap to really get them anywhere near the temperature range they want to be at. Particularly with the rears. I have a tough time heating up the rears with my setups on the super softs. So I guess in the future it'd probably be worth altering the setup a bit, probably be stiffer at the rear in the qualifying setup. Or just take some downforce off, that would do it also. Ugh. It's so hard if I'm on that curb at all, I can't really hit the brake, but I need to hit the brake a little bit for that corner. So it's right on the line between hitting the brake or not. I'm considerably faster in a straight line with this fuel out though. With the fuel in, I think my top speed is only like 259. I think that's only if I miss a brake point and go wide through 130R. Definitely have enough fuel in for a couple shots at it here. Yeah, that's slower than I went with full fuel. Again, these cars rarely set their best lap on the first out lap. It's almost like they need to bed in a sense, where they need to get a bit of running underneath them before they really hit their stride. It's not the ideal way to take that corner. Not used to having to brake there, man. See, this is one of the other problems I have with these super softs. Is I tend to use a lot of the grip, and then they'll overheat, and then suddenly you don't have anywhere near the grip you did before. So it's really tough to tread that line between getting them as hot as they need to be and getting them too hot. But again, most of my problem comes with overheating the fronts. I think I might just end up qualifying on softs more than anything. I think that's going to get me a better time than these super softs. I just don't know what it is with my style and my setups, but I just can't get this tire to work. Which again is not the end of the world. The softs are still plenty fast. It's just kind of a shame because I want this tire to work because there is a lot more grip in it when it is working. We'll start one more lap, and if we're off of it, then we'll just come back in and throw softs on. I think the other thing to consider is that I'm much more comfortable with that soft tire than I am with this super soft, because I just do so much more running on that tire. I just have so much more knowledge of how it acts in the corners and how to really use it through the corners. Oh, this is much better though. I took a much more reasonable pace through those corners, where I wasn't pushing the tire too hard. That's probably most of what the problem is for me. I probably just assume this tire has more grip than it actually does and try and push it too hard. But really I need to treat it like a slightly better soft. Then it'll probably treat me a bit better. Almost blew that braking zone. Yeah, 7/10 up in the first sector is really good for me. Yeah, if I just take it a little bit easier everywhere, and I'm not trying to really throw the car at the corners, then it responds better. So, more than anything, it's probably just the way I was driving it. That's what it seems to be. Up even more in the second sector. Actually entering the Casio triangle a little bit slower than you probably should. Mostly because it's, if I miss that corner, it completely ruins the entire lap. Ah, 2049. I'll take that. We have enough fuel in to do a couple more laps if we need to. That's likely to be my best lap though. That's easily the best lap I've done the entire time on this combination. Yeah, if you miss any part of these S's, it just ruins all of them. Ooh. Ooh. We definitely want to avoid doing that in the race. That was very not good. God, that car looks
Sorry,
so
Kevin,
sexy.
I'm on a hot lap as well.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, I'm not on a hot lap anyway.
Okay.
Wow, that is surprising that it took off there like that. God, I'm still way down here. Holy cow. I guess I am just barely in the 204s. Looking at that though, it's gonna be a pretty lonely race looking at those gaps. Holy cow. It's worth noting Kevin is in the same exact car as me. And he's got 3.6 seconds over my time. Oh. I think Josh is also in the Viper. Yeah, he is. What are their speeds in a straight line? 265. So they're probably able to run with less downforce than I'm running. I think 4 was my fast one. Hey, monkey. That first corner sequence is so fun when you get it right. Also, these S's feel fantastic when you get them right. Well, I clipped that one just perfectly. Helps explain why this lap was nice and quick. I still take the Degners wrong. Because I haven't found a really better line through them. Well, better braking points for them, I guess. Because the second one I could definitely take quicker. Actually, that wasn't as bad as I thought. I thought I missed that inside shoulder on that corner by more than I did. And the long, sweeping right before spoon. And right there is so tough because you have to downshift and just barely tap the brake, and you don't have time or space to straighten the wheel out when you hit the brake. So you're still turning, so you have to be so careful on the brake there. And I'm not carrying as much speed through 130R as I should be. But if you go over that curve, it really hurts your time. And again, my entry for Casio Triangle here is not as quick as it could be either. But now that I've got that lap in the bank, we can go out and try a couple more on the edge. Still got 7 minutes. Go out and try another run here. you get unlucky and you get one of the garages that's not flat on exit, it's quite annoying. It's so fun to watch the tire heat in that front left just spike out of those first two corners. It goes from that really deep blue to being very quickly into the purple. Suzuka gets some heat in those fronts real early with these S's. But again, the other nice thing is this is good practice for after the pit stop in the race, for understanding how the car feels when the tires are cool. That's probably, right after a pit stop is probably one of the most difficult points in a race for me at least. Because suddenly the car is heavier, significantly heavier than it just was. And I have both more grip and less grip than I just had. Less grip because the tires are cold, but more grip because I just put fresh tires on. So it's a really awkward time to get used to. And you have to immediately jump at it and get to it. Also, knowing that you can accelerate out of spoon is vital and difficult. Oops. See if I can get away with just lifting here. Yeah, when the car is this light, I can definitely do that. When the car is heavy with fuel, I definitely cannot. Alright, let's see what we can do here. I have a feeling I have about a second's worth of pace if I really hit everything just right. Really push it. I don't know if I can get that 1 second, but I feel like that's about what I have. Quote unquote in the tank is set up in this car. Now if I took more downforce off, I could probably get upwards of a second and a half. But it's way too late to try that. And it would also throw off the feeling of the balance I have in the car for when the race starts. So it wouldn't be a very smart thing to just suddenly do that now. 4/10 slower. But again, the fact that I'm one of the slowest cars in a straight line is quite telling as to the fact that I could definitely do with less downforce, at least on the rear. There's a perfect example of how it can go very quickly wrong through spoon. Tap the brake just a little too much, get the rear tires on the curb, and then it's just hold on and hope it comes back to you at some point. Oh, that just barely held in there. We'll see. The tires should be all right, actually. I only ripped 2% out of that right rear.
207.68.
Got one more lap at it, basically. Too early on that last braking. It's alright. Pushed a little hard through the first two, so we're gonna have to go a little bit easier through these two to make sure it turns, particularly here. We can push it a bit here. Uh-oh, hopefully Venter gets back before the session ends. Oh, I guess he does have 10 minutes for warm-up. 4/10 slower. I felt like a better first sector than that to make anything up here. Oh, it's gonna be a bit slow. I mean, there's not much you can do in those first S's. You're gonna have understeer almost no matter what there. It's just how well your car and setup deals with it. I did gain time in that second sector. Sort of a shame I messed up the first so much. Well, lost so much time in the first, I should say. Really mess up the sector. Wow. If I had gotten a good first sector, that could have been a heck of a lap. That was a hell of a last sector. Most of that was probably through 130R. Because I wasn't braking and downshifting this time, just downshifted and lifting. It's also, through these S's, you can definitely, if you clip the curbs a little bit, you can use that to turn the car a bit more. It's really risky to do, but in qualifying, you can definitely get away with it. Race, it's a little bit too risky to do unless you're really, really consistent in hitting them exactly right. As I say, that was a hell of a first sector. Screwed up the second Degner though. Yeah, the coloring on the tire heat for RFactor 2 is nice. RFactor 2 has one of the best tire heat models in the first place. Where the tire actually heats through the corner and then loses it. Whereas most games just sort of, tires maintain a constant heat all the way around. Nope, ruined it. Ah, that was such a good first sector too. All I had to do was hold on to it. Oh well. Such a sexy first sector. If I could just match up all of my best sectors. Yeah, 6/10 better there. It's my best middle and my best third. So basically a 203 a 203.7-ish would have been my best possible fastest lap. I don't think that actually would have gotten me any positions because I think the next person up was a 203.1.
You finish your laps. I was on a better lap there.
Yeah, sadly, you just passed the line just before, just after. So yeah, you did pass the line before the checker flag came out, but yeah, I need to change this since I've installed on this new Dediboxy Italy one. I think I need to change the numbers so it doesn't time out so soon.
Okay.
Oop. Right back to our race setup.
Well done on the second place there, Josh. Nice to see the Vipers on the front row.
Where's Wilbert?
Oh, he left ages ago during practice. Yeah, he had connection lost along with me and a couple of other guys. And, yeah, he then decided to call it a night.
Right.
If only all 3 Vipers were up there. Kevin and Josh are both very, very quick drivers. Definitely going to need at least 1 hot lap to get used to this fuel weight again. Still brake a little bit too early for the... I mean, it's better than braking too late and locking up all throughout the first part or going into the gravel. But it's still not as good as getting the braking correct, which is the best possible option.
I'm not sure whether to go with the S7s or 8s. Last time people were using the S7s and they said they would have lasted the whole race, weren't they?
Did they?
To Sebring.
Oh, right, okay. Well, I crashed out. I didn't have a chance to know that, did I?
Well, that's good. I didn't ask.
Yes. S6, S7, S8, S9, then this is best. S6 is the softest and S9 is the hardest.
Never mind. There's no the track map. Is it all fixed to the bottom left-hand corner, or you can move it around?
You can move it around with the right control and I think arrows.
Nope.
Maybe it's the right control and the move seat keys, which I was back to. My move seat keys and arrows. Something like that.
Move seat keys. And I think the defaults are down arrow on the keypad rather than the cursors.
Okay.
Nope.
Oh well, we'll have to put up where it is then. But it's basically a combination. Do you know what you're... Well, you just tried right control and move seat keys, I assume. That didn't work, no?
New.
Yeah?
That just moves the seat.
Okay. Okay, it's right shift. Seat keys.
The lap was 2:06.18.
If you mean the,
New.
Well, that's what it is for me. It's the try right shift and then the arrow key instead then. So
if you mean the actual
maybe
temperature itself, yeah, it's,
arrow keys, right shift, arrow keys.
The arrow keys resizing.
Okay. Might be another one then. Maybe it's the left shift moves it around or something like that. So the right shift obviously is
If you mean the temperature
in a
number,
combination.
then it's basically the outside corner or the outside edge of the tire is the actual number you see. It's not
Don't
exactly
swing
the
to
outside
left-hand
edge,
side,
but it might as well
because
be.
I think we're staying away from the mirror. Never mind.
Move your mirror.
Turn it off. Don't you have the track map on? Suzuka, throw it out there. To turn it off is right control 0 on the numpad, as long as numpad's turned on.
Can't turn off my mirrors because
No,
they're
no, no.
fixed to the car.
Not the mirror, it's the track map. Turn it off. Don't need to see a map of the track.
Oh, for the colors, yeah, the colors are fairly accurate also. I need to use the restroom real quick before we start, so.
Remember to wax on and wax off, Kev.
We did all that last night.
Ugh, alright. So far, it looks like this is definitely going to be a pretty lonely race, unfortunately, but you never know. It might get some interesting happenings in there still. But yeah, in terms of tire heat in the center of the corner, there's definitely a bit too much camber in it, but I mean, it's not worth changing that now. It's going to drastically change how it feels through those S's. But yeah, in the medium to high speed corners, it's definitely not laying the tire flat like it should be. Or it's not laying it as flat as it should be, is probably the most correct phrase.
Don't you guys forget to change your settings for the race?
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
On the wrist action, you see. I'll score at least 1 point. I said one of my favorite things about the REVS guys is they pretty much all have really good attitudes.
And also don't forget, tyres take a couple of laps to warm up.
And the vast majority of them are more than willing to help if you ask for it in setup stuff and also like one of them, Neil Pardo, a couple days ago actually jumped on. he drives a different car, but he actually jumped on with the Aston Martin with somebody else to help them dial in an initial setup because they were just completely lost on what to do with the car. So again, just the, I don't know, they're so,
Good luck.
Good luck, everyone.
Good luck, everyone.
they're so genuinely friendly with what they do. It makes it so much more enjoyable to race with these guys.
Warm up first.
Yeah, formation lap. Yeah.
Their formation laps are really slow
I
though.
always get that mixed up.
Go ahead and set up our pit stop for when we need to.
Probably
Probably,
snow plows on.
probably won't need to take the full 70, but it doesn't hurt to set it to that.
But yep, it's good looking that way temperature-wise, isn't it? It does look like a few snow clouds in there.
Should be a fun race though. Suzuka is one of those tracks that it's kind of just fun to do laps around because it's such a good circuit in and of itself. Hopefully I rested my eyes enough, but I have a feeling about 30 minutes in my double vision is going to be full effect, unfortunately.
That's what happens when you're playing the LCD menu. Missed the start now. Or you starting with the pits? Okay. Yeah,
I joined with about 20 seconds on my anyway, so I'm just going to stay around this way.
Okay.
Well, this time I hope there's no cursing and shouting over TeamSpeak mid-race.
I don't remember
Oh,
that
there
last
was a
time.
Brands.
Oh, right. not this last one.
I don't know if you guys can hear them all that well, but
Yeah,
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 totally.
properly there.
split.
I forgot that that actually happened. It got to about 9 o'clock and I thought, oh bugger, I meant to do something today.
It might be. I mean, that's not really going to warm the tires all that much. It'll warm your brakes more than anything. But realistically, at the pace that these guys do their formation lap, it's not gonna create any heat that's gonna stay for any reasonable amount of time. Yeah, that command that Speedmon just did. Basically, if you click there, you can see live. A live overlay, for lack of a better term, of the race itself, of where everybody is and timings and all that stuff. It's a really nice website. Coming up to our pits, our start grid spot here. Boop. It's so fun. I don't know. I love formation laps. Actually bringing it all the way around and setting it. It's just so fun. I really need to get my brake temperature display back on screen. I forgot to do that beforehand. But either way, should be a really interesting race. Not expecting anything more than a top 10, really. That's kind of what my goal is in this. Just try and be consistent, stay about where I'm at, but we'll see. Last time at Sebring, I was able to push forward pretty far. I wasn't quite sure how hard to brake or where to go for that. So we did lose some positions there, but it's not the end of the world. You can definitely fight back for them through the race. Just want to be really careful while the tires are cold. Unfortunately, I'm getting some crazy runs on Matthews here, which I can't do much with in the first lap because he's not really gonna expect. Man, I'm getting ridiculous runs out of the corner on him. No! That was not good. It's so hard to hold on the outside there. So hard to hold it on the outside there. But again, I can't not make use of that run I got. Oh, Matthews went way wide. Got back on the road in time though. Oh, big lock up and a spin. That's one advantage of putting that much pressure on somebody that early. Again, I never really want to see somebody spin, but that is one outcome of having that much pressure that early on somebody, is forcing them into a mistake. Because when you're the car in front and you know that car behind is getting good runs out of the corners, it makes you try and push your entries that much harder. It's also possible he had some junk on his tires from going so wide through 130R. Alright, so now it's time to try and get up to Pardo. Get past him. Realistically, at Suzuka, that's one of the better ways to pass people, as weird as it sounds, is to just have them make a mistake. There's so many places where it's right on the edge of being able to pass. Oh. And too late on my brake point considering how heavy the car is right now. But this fuel looks like it's actually going to last longer than I thought it would. And we'll see as we get closer to the 45-minute mark. But we might be able to adjust the fuel that we put in the car down quite a bit from the 70. Because right now I'm planning to put another 70 liters in. But I might be able to drop it all the way to like 60. Because I'm only going to need 45 minutes worth of fuel-ish. Probably a little bit less than that. Still braking a little early for the Casio triangle. I shouldn't need to apply the throttle like that before I even hit the apex, the first part.
That was a 2:05.
2054 is good for me though. That's a heck of a fast lap. It was right on the edge of group there. Now the thing I have to avoid doing is letting my eyes get real big and putting the accelerator on too early and then just throwing it into a wall like a silly Billy. Well, I do not know where that term came from in my brain. I have not said that in probably decades. Wow. My brain, ladies and gentlemen. It is interesting to say the least. Still braking too early for the second Degner. have such a hard time finding a good brake point for that corner. Probably don't use as much road as I could on the exit of that hairpin. But if you go wide there, it's really, really detrimental. Definitely gaining on Pardo here. Just a matter of, can I gain enough to get around him in a convenient spot? Lift a bit more there because I missed that entry. Oh, that was a much better entry. He's having a bit of trouble on throttle.
That was a 2:05.76.
He broke a little earlier than I was expecting, but it's entirely possible that I just missed my normal brake and turning point. It's easy to get distracted when there's a car in front of you and miss your side of the road markers. Tiny bit wide there. He's able to pull it back in though. I'm not quite sure where his brake point is for that corner yet, so it's costing me some time coming out of the second Degner. That's alright. Wide into Spoon. Oh, he almost lost it there. That was so close. I think we have very similar speed when we both get it right. So I'm not really actually gaining on the back of his car through a lot of these segments. Oh, way too wide. Just have to keep off the throttle there. Get it to come back in line in time. It's nice how that's actually a legitimate loss in time. I'm gonna go that wide there. Still put in my fastest lap though, because I had such a good first sector. Neither of us are quite using all of the road right now. Looks like both of us are trying to be a little conservative. Not really push too hard at this stage. Just a lot of time left. We effectively only burned off 1/9 of the race. Ooh, that's a decent braking point. I might be able to use that. Right at the end of the curbing. A bit wide that time. We are really close in speed. But the way I caught him in the first couple laps, I thought I'd be able to catch him and just pass him right away. Battles like this. start dragging the brake a tiny bit through there to get it to keep turning in. Oh, oh, that was so close. That was a good save. That was such a good save from Neil there. Holy cow. Yeah, I can enter that first corner so much faster than him, but he keeps his speed through the middle part into turn 2 better than I do. I'll see if we can create a gap here at all. Because it is very possible that his setup will come back to him. Wow, got so much understeer there. Pushed the tires a little too hard through the S's. That front left really overheated. Alright, I need to pull it back a little bit. I need to pull a gap, but I need to do it safely. Right now I'm trying to do it like it's qualifying laps. We use our pace, we use our pace. We'll always remember that Ferrari radio message to Alonso. There's something so charming about wording it that way. Oh, my top speed is 263. Oh, duh, because I've been getting slipstream. A bit too heavy into it that time. I have to watch myself doing that too many times in a row. Alright, so gap is 2.3 at the line. Let's see what it is next time. Feeling a bit more comfortable to use more of the road now than I was earlier. I just have to be careful not to overcook the tires through the first 2 S's here. They still have some front left left. Front left left. And I go through there. That was much better. Come on, just keep being consistent. It's probably one of the most vital parts of my race right here. Again, considering how close on pace I am with Neil. Because the more gap I can pull out now, the less I sort of have to do later. Because I tend to, with my driving style, I tend to shine really towards the end of my first stint. And then everything after that is usually a little bit off pace. I'm not quite sure why. That just seems to be my style. Like the first few laps I'm not very good. Then I settle into a rhythm and I'm good for about 45-ish minutes. Then I pit and then I come back out. It's usually, I usually can't get back to the same pace after my pit stop. Wide there. I have opened the gap to over 4 seconds. So I am able to push my car a little bit Well, actually, that seems more like it was probably a little bobble from Neil, more than me doing anything. 'Cause I would expect to see a few tenths at a time. There's a pace difference, not just a sudden 2-second jump. Ooh, I don't want to take that much curb on the second Degner. Ugh. So you have to be careful of on the exit of that hairpin. Once the car starts washing out, it really washes out. It sort of doesn't come back to you. I got a pretty poor entry into Spoon. Oh, stick! Don't know if you guys can hear that on the tires, but I clipped the tiniest bit of grass. Oh, Neil had an issue. He must have clipped too much grass on the exit there. Oh, that sucks. He lost so much time. I almost did exactly the same thing. Because again, I don't know if you guys could hear it, but I clipped the tiniest bit of grass right before there's, because on the exit of Spoon, there's curbing, and then there's artificial painted road behind it. I think in real life it's artificial turf. But in RFactor 2 it feels like just painted concrete, but, or painted asphalt. But either way, just before that section of curbing and painted road started, I just clipped the tiniest bit of grass, and you're full accelerator at that point. So if the car gets just the tiniest bit too much of grass, it will rip itself around. Hey, Steve-O. In the top middle of the screen, underneath my mirror, the timer that's in green shows you how long is left in the race. So there's 72 minutes left out of the full 90 minutes that we run. So we're not quite a third of the way through. But that's where you can see how much time is left. And then in blue, that's the local time for me. It's just before 4 o'clock p.m. Hey, Brussels. But on the right side, we now have a nice little gap for ourselves. On the downside, I think this is the gap I'm probably going to sit in for the bulk of the race. So it might not be all that exciting from here on out, unless I do silly stuff like that. From here on out, it won't be all that exciting. Almost throw my race away. Oh, how beautifully poetic that was. My car and RFactor 2 were like, we'll show you. Show you there's still plenty of excitement left. The trips came. It's definitely going well so far. I got back to my qualifying position in a couple of laps. Now we just sort of settle into a rhythm until the pit stops at 45. We just sort of see what happens after the race. But anyway, so now it's sort of the rhythm section of the race in a sense, where you just sort of settle into a pace you can run until your pit stop. You just sort of do that pace for as long as you can, and hopefully that pace is fast enough. Now I am going to take tires on my stop, but I think most of these guys do. At least judging by the previous races and the times they've set. Or the times they've been stationary in their pits, I should say. Ooh, way wide. It's gonna cost me a bit of time there. So my fuel is gonna last just about right. I really want to see once I have 30 liters left exactly how much that is. Because I think I might need only about 60 liters on my pit stop, and right now I have it set to 70. And obviously every little bit matters when you're filling the car up with fuel. Every little bit you don't have to put in is time you save. Still braking a little bit early for the second corner of those first two. It's not the end of the world, but it is a little something that I can improve on through the race. This one in particular, these last two are where your front tires are just so hot, don't quite have the grip you did for the first two of those S's. My pit strategy is to pit around 45 minutes, probably trying to go to about 50. But realistically, once you hit about 55, once you hit about 48 minutes in, these soft tires really start to grain quite badly and you lose a lot of pace. So more than anything, it's sort of the tires that are dictating when I do my pit stops rather than the fuel load. Now if I took medium tires instead, then that wouldn't be an issue. I would pit at 60 minutes in with 30 minutes left and just take exactly the amount of fuel I needed to finish the race, and I wouldn't even take tires. But I usually can't get the mediums to work as well as the softs, so I tend to just go for a tire change instead. My eyes, like I said, about 30 minutes in, my eyes are already fully doubled, unfortunately. Well, on the bright side, the guys ahead are not pulling away very quickly. So if they make any mistakes, I can definitely... Well, if they make any major mistakes, I'll definitely be close enough to pounce. Oh, man. Or if I make any major mistakes. Just tried to take that first corner a little too quickly. Couldn't scrub off the speed before I got into the dirty part of the road. Holy cow. Apparently my tires still have some crap on them. The other thing is that would have taken a little bit. Ooh, there's a yellow flag. Ooh, what happened? Oh, Matthews, no. Didn't look like there was any body pieces missing, so he might be able to get it going again. Yeah, there, he's back on the thing. I didn't see any tire marks, so I wonder if he just clipped a curb too hard and brought him around. Oh. The instant I use that tiny bit too much brake there and I feel the car start to rotate, I immediately just everything tenses and I'm like, it's such a scary moment. But the other thing to remember in a race like this is it is Suzuka, so as the fuel burns off and as the tires start getting worn, there's every possibility that other people will start making mistakes as the track just gets trickier and trickier.
9, 7.
So a long race like this is never over until the checkered flag finally flies. Unfortunately, I don't have Venter behind me this time to make me go faster. That's such a fun race in Sebring. It's pushing me faster and faster and faster. Completely different type of race to this one so far. But again, after Sebring, I definitely learned the very important thing about the softs, which is what I talked about earlier, where it's very, very vital to either know that they're going to grain and just keep them on the entire race and work through that graining period, or get the tires off of your car before the graining starts so you don't go through that time period with them. Because it's a complete and sudden loss of grip that lasts probably about 8 to 10 minutes on the soft tire, and then it clears. And at the previous races, I've tried going the full 60 minutes and then taking my pit stop for the last 30. And unfortunately, the big problem with that is with when the graining period comes in on these tires, it's right at the end of that stint. When the car is finally getting light, you should be able to push. It's exactly the time you can't push on the soft tire because it suddenly loses its grip. So it makes it very, very tricky to actually utilize that full 60-minute time period. Again, unless you're going to come in and not change the tire.
That was a 2-0.
Back in the 205s, that's good.
8.
Again, on the splits there, the top difference is to my own personal best lap in the race. The bottom difference is to the best overall lap in the race itself. So that 1.5 tenths off at the top one was to my own best, and then the 3.7 was to the session best, which looks like is actually set by Kevin, even though Josh is in the lead. Joshua. Probably pronounced his name wrong. But it's fun to say Hua. It's kind of fun though, there's actually a lot of Vipers in the race this week. Because both Kevin and Josh are in Vipers, I'm in one, and then Neil Pardo behind me is in one. So 4 out of 15 is not bad. Not bad representation at all. Almost a quarter of the field. Actually, no, that would be more than a quarter of the field, wouldn't it? Everybody loves the Viper. Okay. We should pay more attention to the road. Again, the good thing is, even with my minor mistakes, Neil is not really bearing down on me, so it's not super pressure right now. He's definitely keeping the gap very close though. You can see he's pulling away from the person behind him also. That was way too early on the brakes. It's also worth noting the pit entry here right there. It's very fast and very difficult, and it is really easy to get a speeding penalty. Because you just fly in there at an insane speed. And you have to scrub off a lot of that speed very quickly. But you're also surrounded by walls that are very close to you. So it's also very easy to hit the brakes a little too hard, lock it a bit, and slide it into one of those walls. So the pit stops can change everything with speeding penalties or people throwing it into walls. Alright, so we're 1/3 through the race. 60 minutes left. Which means means we have about 15 minutes before our pit stop here. We've got just enough fuel, so we're probably going to go ahead and put 70 in at the pit stop. For safety's sake, because it seems like that's going to take us right to our 45 minutes pretty safely. It looked like it was going to take us beyond that to about 50, 51 minutes earlier. But that fuel usage adjusts as you drive. So it seems like I'm using more than I was at the start. Which again, for how I race makes sense. I tend to get a little bit faster through the midsection. And I'm usually not that great at the start. Bit too much curb. We managed to make it okay. Whew. Front left is down to 76 already, though. That's interesting. It's lower than I would have expected it to be at this point in the race. I figured it would still be in the 80s. Particularly with how few mistakes, large mistakes I've made in reference to the tires. Like I haven't had any big lockups or anything. On the unfortunate side, the guys ahead are definitely pulling away. I think I would need Andy I think I would need him to lose the car in front of him. And similarly for Lang, I think I would need all of them to lose the draft from each other in order for me to actually start gaining ground on them. But as long as they're both drafting off of Venter, I don't think there's much my pace can do against it. Again, outside of just going faster, which is not really an option because I'm already trying to go faster. But again, there's always a possibility that one of them will have a mistake in their pit stop, on their pit stop, before, during, after. There's so many options, so there's never any reason to lose hope that the positions are completely out of reach. Oh, he did move into first, you're right. God, his top speed is 267. 4 kilometers an hour faster in a straight line than I can go. I mean, the fact that he's able to drive the car with that much less downforce really gives him a pretty big advantage here. Because a lot of this last sector is just flat out straight line speed, which this Viper should be very good at, but I have to put a bit more downforce on because I'm not as skilled. It looks like Kumar has pitted. I don't know from what position he was in. I think he was in 5th. Surprisingly early for a pit stop.
That was a 2:06.
Oh yeah, Kevin is ridiculous. And there's quite a few of the REVS guys that have just ludicrous speed. But again, I said it before the race, but I'll say it again. It's one of the things that I like about REVS is even the guys with very high speeds, one, they still tend to be nice, which is one of the most important things. And more than anything, most of them tend to be very patient on track when they catch the slower cars. Oh, that was close. Which I don't see very many fast guys do. Most of the fast guys are incredibly impatient. It's so frustrating. And again, it just makes it so much more enjoyable to race with them when they're happy, they're excited, and and again, above all else, they're also very helpful. Like if you have any questions about anything, really, most of them will get back to you very, very quickly about stuff. It's just such a nice atmosphere. Particularly when I compare it to what I've seen so far at CMS, which is not anywhere near the same atmosphere. CMS is much more like an iRacing style where the fast guys are fast and they don't really care about anybody else. Oh, that's unfortunate, Brussels. That would have been... I think you would have enjoyed this one. It's a nice track. The Ferrari should feel pretty good around here, too. I would think, anyway. I don't think the Ferrari would perform all that well here, but it should have been a fun-feeling car, particularly through that first 2 sectors. In terms of 3-stopping, no, it's as long as 60 minutes or more have gone off the clock, then you're good to go. Because a full tank on these will last a full 60 minutes anywhere, unless you're just wasting fuel somehow. But at normal racing speed, a full tank will last you a full hour at least. So if you go at least 30 minutes in, then you can definitely get away with stopping at that point and bringing it in. And again, a lot of the fuel and tire strategies depend almost entirely on your speed and what you want out of it. Because again, stopping 30 minutes in is viable. Stopping all the way at 60 minutes is perfectly viable. Stopping at 45 is viable. Again, my pit strategy revolves entirely around the fact that I want to use soft tires, and in order to do that, I need to try and get around the graining period, so I need to try and make them last about 45 minutes and then pit and then do the last 45. So that's entirely what my initial fuel strategy and my race pit strategy revolve around. Now again, the people who stop at 30 minutes or at 60 minutes, more likely than not, are probably using medium tires. It's possible they're using softs and they're just better on them, and they don't hit the graining period like I do. But more likely than not, they're probably on mediums and just not changing tires. Oh, I wonder what happened with Kumar. Oh wait, no. Kumar was the one who said he couldn't stay the whole time. That might have been why he pitted. He might have had to go. I forgot, during warm-up, I think it was, he mentioned that he wasn't going to be able to stay for the whole race. Alright, my fuel light just came on, so we're going to need to start paying attention to how much fuel we have left and make sure we do not run out. That would be a sucky way to end this race. Just run out of fuel. Looks like my tire life is going to be almost perfectly aligned. So basically, once it gets below 70%, you really want to start thinking about a pit stop. Once it gets below 60, you really probably should bring it in, unless it's a really big endurance event. Alright, so I have a full 3 laps right now. Ugh, I really need to get it below 45 before I come in. Just to verify in my mind that I know for a fact I can make it to the end. Downshift a little early there to keep it on track. That was not the smartest time for a drink. But I need my water. I'm still on a decent pace. I'm not too far off my fastest pace with each of these laps. I'm far enough off to be not optimal, but I'm not so far off that it's terrible. And again, it's interesting. The gap ahead is effectively doubled, and the gap behind is effectively doubled. seems like consistently this is just where my pace is going to land me unless something changes. Which is sort of... Actually, it's one spot better than I expected, but I wasn't taking into account that Kumar was having to leave. Oh. Okay, now my left is going to be... My front left is going to be a little bit hotter, so we're going to have to take this a little easier than normal. Make sure we don't understeer off. Ugh. Well, it's decent pace. At Sebring, I was able to keep up with Bonar and almost keep up with Venter. So I'm definitely not as quick here as I was 2 weeks ago. But for me, it's definitely decent enough pace. The tires are starting to feel not great now. Again, it's also worth noting that everybody in the entire field is going to have a sketchy pit stop entry. There's just no way around it here, unless you take it way too slow, and then it's sketchy because you took it too slow. But actually legitimately pushing the car into the pit entrance is going to be so tough. Right now the GUI light has come on, so we're below 10 liters now. You guys can't see that one, but this is the very top left corner. But basically, the top left corner icon in RFactor 2, that pops up right when you're below 10 liters, regardless of how much the fuel tank actually holds. Actually, that's not true. I think it's a percentage. I think it's 10% of the fuel tank distance. So I think I just lied to you guys accidentally. Because if you put the multipliers on, it comes up well before 10 liters. So I think it's actually a percentage of the total distance you can run in that combination. Alright, I need to go at least one more lap after this one. We're not at 45 yet. And the tires are still okay. Hashtag unfollow. But I definitely do not have the grip I had earlier. Particularly out of that left front. It's not like, holy cow, I can't push anymore, but it's definitely noticeably worse than it was just a bit ago. Again, it's still enough to get a decent lap time out of. And the faster guys probably won't even notice that sort of extra little jump. Somebody at my pace definitely makes a solid difference. One of the most interesting things to me about Suzuka is that even though it's a figure of 8, it still actually wears that front left more than the front right. Being a figure of 8, you would expect it to wear both tires the same. So it is interesting that it's extra wear on that front left. And I'm guessing really this section right here, the last corner in the front too. Oh, Wood did pit, okay.
6.5.
You are correct. Alright, now, from this lap forward we can pit wherever we want, but I do have enough fuel to do another full lap if I need to. Well, if I want to. I think I will do that. But for safety's sake, we're probably going to leave the full 70 liters added to the tank. Looks like I probably only need about 62, 63 liters actually in the tank. But I loathe running out of fuel, as I've said many times. So I'd rather be 10 liters too heavy than run out before the start-finish line. I think it's about 30 to 40 seconds. But that being said, last time I tested it, I did not have enough fuel out of the tank to fully fuel it. So it might take a little bit longer when it's putting the full 70 liters in. I'm entering spoons so poorly now. It's odd because that front right should be a little bit better. All right, we have 1.5 laps of fuel. We definitely have enough to go ahead and go around again. Andy ahead of me is in the pits now. So theoretically, if I go one more lap now, it should effectively, it's not going to make much of a difference because of the pace that he has over me. But if we were closer together, this is where that 1 lap difference in tires at the end might make a bit of a difference.
The lap was on 2:06.66.
Oh, he's actually finished his stop and is still ahead of me. I don't think he took tires then. 'Cause I don't think he had a full. No, I guess the guys ahead do have a full 50 seconds on me, and he was with that group, so he probably had enough time to cover me. We definitely have to pit this time. I have to remember to pit this time also. In practice, I kept forgetting to pit, and I can't forget this time because I do not have enough to go back around. So I 100% have to pit. Again, the one I'm really racing against is Neil Pardo behind me. He's the one whose pace is very, very similar to mine. Alright, I'm leaving the pit thing up in the right-hand side so that I hopefully remember. The last thing I want to do is forget the pit. And it's actually legitimately hard to remember how to, not how to remember to pit around here though, at least for me. Because you come around that last corner out of the Casio Triangle and you just want to go back around again. 1, because it's Suzuka and you just want to keep going around it, but 2, it's just ingrained in your muscle memory to explode out of that last corner. Alright, pit, 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 pit. I tell myself like 600 times. Make sure I do it. And it does feel like I've avoided the graining, which is good. And my car has actually stayed really stable this time. Pit, 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 pit. Like it hasn't become unstable. I think it's 79, yeah.
That was on 2:09.09.
So 41 seconds. We'll go ahead and turn the car off for the pit stop. But the car has stayed very, very stable this time in on low fuel and worn tires, which is very, very good. I'm starting to get my setups a little bit better in that regard. Interesting, Pardo is not pitting behind me. So I think he's going for the full 60 minutes and then 30 minutes of fuel at the end. Very interesting to see what the other guys do. We're fired up at about 35. Alright, now Curry did pit behind me. So basically I need Pardo to be within about probably 40-ish seconds would be optimal. Now this guy is on the lead lap and he's coming up to lap me, so I need to be careful. Try and let him around. Not the best place to do it, but it's one of the... I wanted to do that before we got to the S's because my cold tires would hold him up big time. And I don't want to negatively influence the race up front if I can avoid it. again, my race is with Neil, not with Van Oak. My friend who's from the Netherlands would probably laugh immensely if he heard me try to pronounce that name like I just did. Oh, I think he ran out of fuel. Oh, I think he ran out of fuel. Oh, what happened? Oh, that would be huge. Oh no, he got it going again. I wonder if he accidentally hit his pit limiter or something. That was so weird. Oh, that was so weird. He just suddenly stopped. What in the world was that? I thought for sure he had ran out of fuel or something. By the way, one of my favorite things about this version of Suzuka in RFactor is the blue flashing lights next to the track actually function correctly. So you can see the blue lights at the side of the track showing me the blue flag.
0.87.
I'll lift a bit here. So curious, what in the world happened? I must wonder if he accidentally hit his pit speed limiter button. I've done that before. I've done that too many times. Where you just accidentally hit the button. Or maybe he was looking at his pit thing. But yeah, actually having the lights on the side of the road is so awesome. I've seen those boxes on other tracks, but I've never seen them function correctly like that. Unfortunately for him, the guy he's fighting with is right behind me. So that cost Van Oak a lot of time. Although they are teammates, but that cost him a lot of time. Looks like a lot of these guys are doing the late stop strategy. I mean, you can see I actually have better pace out of some of these corners than he does, even though he's probably much lighter on fuel right now than I am. Actually, almost guaranteed to be lighter on fuel than I am. Almost blew that corner. I'll let Lang by here. Oh, nope, he's pitting. All right. That's why you don't pull out too early and slow down too early, particularly when the pit entry is right there like that. Because I would have slowed myself down for no reason when Lang was just coming into the pits anyway. That's one thing I've learned racing with the much faster guys that I've raced with recently, is that you still try and get out of the way, but you make sure you do it in places that make sense for you and the car behind, particularly when you're close to pit stop areas like this. Because it's entirely possible the car behind is planning to pit anyway. And you might not need to even let them by. Ooh, that was a good first sector for me. It's less than a tenth off of my fastest. This is what I found. When I have somebody to chase, I tend to be able to get myself into a consistently faster groove than when I'm just making laps by myself. Oh, man. I feel like there's something... Hopefully there's nothing wrong with his computer or anything. The fact that he keeps doing that is so weird. Unless he's just shutting the car off to try to save fuel or something. On the bright side, I know for a fact he's got maybe 1 lap maximum left in the tank before he has to come in and pit. Because again, the full tank only lasts about an hour, and we're almost an hour into the race. So I'm guessing he'll be pitting soon. Still not pitting this lap though.
That was a 2:05.31.
Again, because my first assumption was that he just ran out of fuel or hit the pit speed limiter, but since he's doing it multiple times, it's really weird. Like I said, I hope he's not having like issues with his internet or something that are causing it to freak out. 'Cause that's never fun to deal with. Particularly when he's fighting for a top 5. On the right side, it's pushing me to go faster. Pardo still hasn't pitted. He's got to be pitting soon. I think I have enough time to cover him, even if he's not changing tires. Neil Pardo ahead of me, I mean. But it's going to be pretty close. Yeah, and see, he loses a bunch of pace there again. It's in the same spot every lap, which makes me think it's actually intentional. Almost like he's trying to save fuel by doing that. Trying to make the stint last longer or something. It's just weird because it's got to be costing him time. I mean, it's obviously costing him time. I'm going faster than he is. And that doesn't happen very often. Oh, he pulls a lot of that gap back through 130R though.
That was a 2:04.
Hey, 204.
6-7.
Like I said, when I have people to cut my time against, I definitely go much faster. Pardo still hasn't pitted. I think he has to come in this lap or he's going to run out of fuel. Unless he was fuel saving in the first part, which is possible. You're not supposed to. You're not supposed to talk during the race. Because a lot of these guys concentrate very, very hard. And like me, are easily distracted by shiny things and loud noises. But it is possible that he was just saying like pitting in or something. The fun thing is, tomorrow I just do this all over again with most of the same REVS guys in Assetto Corsa. Oh, Pardo is... I'm pretty sure he's in the pits. No, he just lost some time. Never mind. I mean, he's losing big chunks of time to me right now. But again, if he's pitting onto a brand new set of softs, his tires are going to be much, much, much better than mine for the last 20-ish minutes. He still isn't in the pits? What? How in the world has he made his fuel stretch this far? That's actually impressive. That's really impressive that Pardo has stretched his fuel this far. I actually need to burn quite a bit of fuel. I've got 40 minutes left in my tank. Quite a bit extra. I almost wonder if that's why he was losing a bit more time than me. I mean, I don't see how it's going to work out, because you literally cannot go the full 90 minutes, no matter how you stretch the fuel. So he's going to have to pit at some point. So strategy-wise, I don't know it's going to work out all that well for him, but it's still very impressive. Oh, Lang made 2 pit stops. I wonder if he had a speeding penalty. On the downside, the gaps ahead and behind are even bigger than they were before. So I'm definitely in my gap. Ugh. It is still a shame that we aren't getting like the 26 that we had before. But I guess it happens even in leagues where the further it goes, the less people show up. Ooh, that was almost my fastest lap. Pardo's still not pitting. How in the world? I feel like that man is a master of fuel saving. Like, that's insane. He's not even losing that much time to me lap over lap. And I'm putting in some of my best laps of the race. That's absolutely insane. Call him Neil Petrol. Oh, I messed it up. I messed it up. It was gonna be a clever little pun, and then I screwed it up. It wasn't really gonna be that clever. Oh, we got Kevin behind us now. Try and find a spot to let him by without losing too much time. Oh, or we'll just almost mess up the hairpin. That works too. Should be able to let him by either on the main straight or before 130R. Probably the main straight, looking at where he's at and how he's gaining time on me. He's not quite close enough here. Yeah, he's definitely losing time now. I mean, he eventually has to, because he's got to be saving so much fuel. Now this is where Van Oak was really gaining on me. And yeah, Kevin does the same thing. Gains immensely braking for the Casio triangle. Let it by here.
That was a 2:04.97.
Oh, I'm guessing Van Hoek had some issue because he just left. That's unfortunate for him. Neil still hasn't stopped. I don't know how this is possible. Is he actually going to be able to stretch an hour's worth of fuel to an hour and 10 minutes? That's insanity. Wow, Kevin is so much faster through those S's than I am. Holy crapsicles. Did you see the gap he pulled in just that one sequence of corners? What? Wow. That's insane. I mean, I let him by, I could see his car very clearly, and by the end of the S's, I basically couldn't see his car anymore. Wow. And he still has wrist problems, by the way. Like, he's still dealing with recovering from his double broken wrists. He's so fast. Might have to ask him and see if he's willing to share a setup for like this race, just so I can see the differences and see what he was able to drive with. 'Cause I'm really curious. I mean, I know for a fact he's definitely got less downforce on, because he's easily faster in a straight line than I am. But I'm curious what else is different to get the car to turn in that well. So that was a bad lap for me, although I did lift on the main straight. Oh, Pardo is finally in. You finally stopped. Holy crap. And I figure asking for a setup for a race that's already done is probably much easier to do than ask for one ahead. Because again, it's one of those things where I don't want somebody to set up the car for me, but it's nice when I can see somebody whose car works that well. It's really nice to be able to see the differences between what they ended up with and what you ended up with. And see if there's any sort of little things that you can do differently setting up a specific car. Yeah, Pardo finally pitted. He's gonna have it looks like he's gonna have a battle with Curry. That's what it really looks like. And we still have 20 minutes. Unfortunately, it's gonna be 20 minutes of me on my own is what it really looks like. Unless I start doing silly stuff like that repeatedly, then that will easily let the guys behind catch up. It's such a tough corner when you get it wrong. And all it takes is that tiny little bit to get it wrong. So as always, there's still plenty to play for. Cart, nope. Alright, we're just gonna take the exit down here. Make sure we don't mess with the broad meadow. It's definitely the safest way when you blow that chicane. The safest way is just go further down and take the alternate chicane, which is much, much, much slower than the main one. Obviously on purpose. Well, that's probably not true. If you probably go straight to it, it might be a little bit faster. But when you try to brake for the regular corner, miss it, and then have to take that one, it's definitely slower. Alright, I need to settle myself down. Get back into a rhythm here. Oh yeah, they are right next together. They're less than a second apart, Curry and Pardo. So they're probably going to have a heck of a battle. Now we got Broadmeadow behind. So we'll be looking for opportunities to not hold him up. He doesn't seem to be quite on the same pace as Kevin and Josh, though. Nothing against him by any means, he's still wicked fast, but he doesn't seem to quite have the same raw speed that the other two have. It is worth pointing out that the other two are in the Viper in it. Although I'm not doing it justice, the Viper should be very strong around here because of the huge straights. And obviously I'm not getting anywhere near the maximum out of it. That's better braking.
Shit, I think the game's about to crash.
The lap was a 2:05.7.
Hopefully that's not Kevin. I'm still not good with their voices. Somebody was saying their game might be about to crash. Oh, car. Oh, car, please. Oh, car, please. Had to dab the brake there to get it to turn around. That corner. Whew. That was some of the least optimal S's I've taken so far this race. Oh man. The car felt so bad through those corners that time. I'm surprised it hasn't given me blue flags yet, considering how close John is. I have no idea, Rustin. No idea at all. Not seen anything posted for it. You can always check the server and see if it's up and if it has a different combination on it. Yeah, I haven't seen anybody post in the AC forum at all.
People on the left.
I'm actually not that far pace-wise. I don't seem to be all that different from John. So my guess is he probably did not change tires during his pit stop, considering I have similar pace to him now. So he probably just ran one set of tires the whole race. Now he's definitely creeping closer. I'm taking these S's so poorly. Oh, was that ever close. You do not want to lose it through the S's. It is disastrous because the walls are right there. You have nothing but grass runoff. Considering the blue flag keeps going in and out, it's odd though. I think it's just messed up somehow. Because it should be giving me the blue flag pretty constantly here with how close he is. It does seem like the Viper, even with my setup on it, the Viper just pulls so hard out of the corners.
Getting in.
Somebody's doing a pit stop this late. That's surprising. The front straight is probably going to be the easiest way to let him by. It's just going to be tough because he's so slow out of some of these corners compared with the Viper. Not even compared with me, just compared with the car I'm in. So I'm not really holding him up at this point. I'll still probably try and let him by on the front straight this time. But I'm going to need to try to create a bit of a gap while I do it.
That was a 2:06.07.
And again, the main reason I can do that is because there's nobody around me that I'm really fighting with right now. But it's just odd when it's not really showing the blue flag because he's not really gaining all that much each time. But he was definitely close. Oh, Lang had to pit. No, he already pitted 2 times. Oh, Van Oak made it back. Okay. So whatever issue he was having, he got back from at least. But he's way down the order now, unfortunately. And I think in the long term, John will definitely pull away from it. Just really odd that he, it's odd just how good this Viper is out of the corners. Like, that's genuinely surprising to me. Particularly with me behind the wheel, like, that's what's most surprising about it. I'm having way too many of those moments late in this race. Holy cow. We got Venture creeping up on us now. And a lot of the reason I'm having those moments is it's so hard to see right now. Like, everything is doubled except, basically, so about 1 car length ahead of me is the sight that I have. Everything ahead of that and everything on the other side of that is blurry and halo-y and doubled. So it makes it really hard to hit your apexes and your sight lines when the only thing that's really clear is about a car length in front of your car. And this is why I really need to, I'm going to experiment this weekend and try and find something. Because it's definitely the worst in RFactor 2 now. And it's the best in Assetto Corsa, but that's because I can just adjust that exposure at will. So I kind of just need some way, whether it's post-processing injection or something, some way to adjust the exposure value similarly in RFactor 2. It just makes the end of these races so tricky. Having to do the bulk of it just on feel. And it means I'm missing a lot of apexes, a lot of corner entries, stuff like that. Again, in this particular instance, it's not that bad because I'm not directly fighting with anybody. But, I mean, the worst part is I can't even use my rearview mirror. Like, it's just completely unusable because it's just a wash of colors, more or less. There's no detail to it at all, in what I can see. So it makes it hard to tell where cars are until they're right up on me. So again, more than anything, it's just sort of a safety thing. And it's nice to be able to see, you know? The weirdest thing is I didn't have this issue before I had my wheel. But I guess I wasn't playing these games before I got my wheel. So that's not really a cause. Oop. Oh, the car suddenly felt really good through there. Much better than it had the laps before. Ten minutes left. It's about 5-ish laps. Definitely still have all the gaps we need ahead and behind. I don't know if Venter's actually going to catch me before the end here. Really seems like that Ferrari isn't doing as well around here as I would have expected it to. is probably one of the toughest corners. It's just sighting that in. I managed to hit it perfectly that time. There's about a 30% chance I'm going to miss it wide or shallow. Again, the slower corners aren't as bad. Oh! He's back in the pits. Oh, that sucks for him. Oh, I hope there wasn't contact between him and Pardo. I guess if there was, Pardo would probably be in also. So maybe he just made a mistake in that battle and nosed it into a wall or something. It's super easy to do around here. Particularly because you sort of have to get aggressive on passing because there's so few places to do it. So eventually if you do have pace on somebody, you want to pass them, you don't have much of a choice other than to get aggressive with it at some point. Unless you're okay with just staying behind them. That was a bad first sector. I think mediums probably would have been the preferred tire. Mediums and then not taking tires. I feel like the front left wears a little too quickly here. Because even at this point when it's at 78, it's still not, still doesn't have the grip it really needs to pull me through the right-handers. Hey, I almost got spoon correct. First time in like 12 laps. Such a tough corner. Fun one, but a tough one. Oh, this is probably the toughest corner on the track. Well, I didn't feel like I was going to brake in time. It actually did get all the way down.
That was a 2:06.21.
It's not a very good lap. I mean, I guess at this point in the race with my tires where they're at, it's not a terrible lap, but I'm really not nailing this first sector anymore. I would guess lap over lap, this is probably where I'm losing the most time after, and mostly after looking at Kevin's pace through that sector, which was insane. It's kind of nice when you can actually follow another car like that, particularly a car that's exactly the same as yours, through a sector like that. You don't really see just the enormous differences. I was only 2/10 off that time. That was a better first sector. I'm definitely going to have to take an eye break for a bit after this. Not anything that I should need to step away from the computer for, but I'll need to move my seat a bit. So we'll do that while I look at some of the replay stuff. Well, there's not going to be very much interesting replay stuff to look at this time. 5 minutes remaining. It is always unfortunate, though, we've got 4 people in the pits out of 15. Again, one of those people said they couldn't stay for the whole time anyway, so that's fine. And then the other 3 having issues of some kind. mean, I guess when there's this few people, the chance that some major incident will happen or some major thing will happen that will bring somebody back to you a couple laps down is much smaller. Just a little more understandable why people would exit out. It's just so weird though. It's like I've said in the past, like when I first entered this series, there were 26 some odd people racing at the first race that I participated in Esteru, which was the third round of the league. And ever since then, it's just steadily dropped. And it's kind of odd, like I'm not quite sure why it's dropped, because the racing has stayed fantastic. So it's just kind of odd as to why it's dropped off. It's like 2 more laps. That looked like a huge cluster of cars on the bottom part of the track there. There's like 6 cars all in a row. I almost wonder if the leaders are catching up to the 8th and 9th place battle or something. Well, I guess 4th, 5th, and 6th are all fairly close. Well, no, they're really not that close. Yeah, I'm curious what that train of cars was. Oh. 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 Car. Whew. It's not very... Oh. It's really not very ideal when you have to tap the brake for those. It's so scary on if the car is going to over-rotate, if it's going to understeer, what in the world it's going to do. Well, there's none of the REVS series run on the same day anyway. Because the one Clio Cup is just finished, and the Team Hard one hasn't actually started yet. They haven't done their first event. At least I don't think they have. And then the rest of the events all run on different days. So I don't know. It's very odd. Like, I keep hoping that we'll get more and more, but it just keeps going less and less instead. Yeah, see, there's the 4 cars all in a row. Oh, it is. It's Pardo Wood, and then 6th place Lang, and then also the leader, Kevin Cox. So it's a bunch of oddly spaced cars all together. I'm very much in the same thing. Maybe it's just the way leagues go. Which again is sort of unfortunate because it's one of the big draws of league style racing is just that there's usually so many more people. So you tend to have more people to actually race against within your sort of speed bracket. The understeer is just getting so bad. Now, Venter behind me isn't really battling for anything, but I still should let him by. It's just tough. Because really the next optimal place to do it is going to be after this hairpin. Looks like I've opened enough of the gap to get the blue flags to stop them. So I might be able to do it here. Or if I just keep that gap open, then I won't have to do it at all. Yeah, the understeer towards the end of this race in those S's was really harsh. God, look at that. Look at how much faster I am out of the corner than Venter. That's insane to me. Like, Venter is a very, very fast driver, by the way. Like, he's a very fast driver. Oh! Oh! I complimented him and he threw it in the wall. I feel bad now. I feel like it's partially my fault. It's not how things work, but that did not look good. It looks like he got it going again though, because he's only 115 back. But that was actually probably pretty close to costing him a position, because Andy Bonar is not very far behind him. Brussels. It's all my fault. I'm a terrible person. Every once in a while it's nice to do a cooldown lap. I probably won't do a full lap, but it's kind of nice to just relax a bit. Particularly since my last few laps were so rough. No, he definitely got it going. He actually crossed the finish line. So on the left-hand side, where you see the gaps, if you see a checkered flag, it means they've actually crossed the start-finish line and finished the event. So he actually, he got it gathered back in and finished in fourth.
Yeah, go racing, guys. Great fun. Nice one, Josh.
Yes, and now I hate myself. Because for a stop-and-go penalty for speeding in pit lane.
Oh dear.
Oh, that's why.
Otherwise I had annoyed Conrad for the whole race.
That's why Lang had 2 pit stops. He had a stop and go for speeding.
Yeah, that crashed me RFactor.
Yeah,
Josh, did you use S7 tyres by any chance?
It would
or
definitely
S8?
be intense.
S8.
I was S7s and then I changed.
So Josh had
Good call.
mediums on.
Yeah, I was sort of gamble. I didn't know what to do. I was thinking, should I go for S8s the whole thing, or should I just try the S7s and see what happens with the tyre change? And yeah, they were just so fast. Second stint on those S7s, just stupidly quick.
Spanish Suzuka.
What did you do your first stint on though?
S7s.
All right. And they lasted okay.
Yeah, they lasted for, I would say, around about 50 minutes worth.
Okay.
I had a S7 too for the whole race.
So once I changed the tyres and I came back out, I managed to do a 1 minute 59.
Whoa.
Who won, by the way?
Me!
Well done, Kev.
Grazie.
Josh second.
And I was able for the second time in a row to be the last one on the track. I don't know whether I should be proud of it.
So if you guys didn't hear, Kevin was on softs for the first stint.
I'm happy with myself, I can tell you.
On his second stint,
cool.
he switched to
I made
mediums.
us too many errors.
We
I
all did,
nearly
we all
had you, Neil.
I know. Phew.
And went
Driving
faster.
the wheels off that thing.
And Nick as well. Nick caught me up, and what happened to him? He suddenly dropped back.
I
Faster
didn't he?
on the harder tire.
Downshifted to second gear around those S's and just spun.
Kevin's insane.
Right.
Good battles though.
Yeah. Oh.
Tell you what, I had a hell of a battle with Emmanuel at the start of the race.
Van Hook isn't on TeamSpeak, so I
Yeah, I
don't know.
ended on the 10th spot or so.
Christ, it was intense for the first 40 minutes. We were just
Right,
battling each
Brussels?
Yeah,
Sweet.
Billy, that's cool, eh?
other. Yeah, brilliant. But bloody Neil got me again.
Barely. What happened when you slowed down as well? before you spun and dropped right back. You and I were together. You got ahead because I made a mistake.
Look, you're gonna think that I'm deliberately doing these things, but it was the precaution of if I tapped you. It wasn't. I feel sorry for you. Think it was literally. I thought I might have tapped you, so I just held back a little bit.
All right. Oh, I didn't realise you were that close, to be honest. So.
Well, bear in mind, I know Kev did try and help me, but my field of view isn't quite. I can't see any of my cars, so I don't know where you are in front of me.
God, that Viper
Yeah, I
looks
know
good.
what that's like. I remember what that's like.
Well, one day I'll have 3 monitors over
I have seen some YouTube videos of someone playing RFactor 2, and it's a little bit like the red arrow you see in a set of cursor that goes around your monitor, so you know where someone is. But it's a circle instead, and I don't know, I've not found that plugin yet.
Yeah,
So-
that's well, wherever it is, I've got it because that shows up when someone's.
So that was part of
You
the
see
story
everyone
behind it.
overtakes
Okay.
you, Kevin, so you never see it.
I could do with that.
But,
So you've got that then, Neil.
well, apparently, yeah. I mean, I don't remember installing it, but it's certainly there, and it is a circle that flashes on and off, and it goes across the bottom of the screen according to where the car is close to you. I think.
All right.
I love that he doesn't remember installing that
Wouldn't
plugin,
be
but he
part of
has it.
track map.
I don't know.
It's definitely something though.
See, on the bright side, I may not be the fastest, but my car looks gorgeous.
Oh, after about an hour, my bum started hurting, as it does. This is why I'm getting rid of my seat.
Again, I don't know how clearly you guys can hear these. How clearly you
Trying
can
to
hear these
shift
guys.
weight
But
from one side to the other to try and relieve the pain a bit.
he said after about an hour his butt started hurting from his
Yeah, that
chair.
was hurting then a lot.
No, I've got a very bony arse and I haven't got a very well padded seat, so after an hour in it, it really starts to hurt.
Oh.
So, you can do
Rustler,
two
right?
things, or you stand racing, or you get a better seat.
I'm getting a better seat.
That's what I found, right? Good choice.
I thought so.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys saw that article, but supposedly, even in the simulator, she is considerably slower than the other people, which is kind of surprising, because there's a lot of people that have been talking her up in terms of her actual talent, but it seems like that might not quite be there. These are all the URD GTE cars. So, United Racing Development is the group that makes them, and they are a paid mod.
What happened
So-
to Alain Vanout, by the way, in the race?
So that's going to make them a little less
To?
enticing for a lot of people.
Alain.
I don't know. Yeah, he retired, didn't he? But yeah, I don't know why.
Last year already, suspension.
All right.
I got such a bad start. I sort of expected it because I have the traction control on medium for these cars. So I expected to not get that great of a start, but then this cost me quite a
Yeah, I
bit.
started on S8s and
Cost me
I
those
stayed
full
on
two
them for too
positions
long.
there.
I didn't
to
pit until
Pardo and Matthews.
there's 25 minutes left and changed to S7s, but I was losing 2 or 3 seconds a lap actually the last good few laps on the first stint.
Yeah, I saw.
The prototypes
I
are a
thought
lot
he
of
must
fun.
Come in soon. He must come in, and eventually he did. We came out within what, a second of each other.
Yeah, and I was surprised how close you were after that pit.
I started getting all nervous, and when I get nervous, I make mistakes.
Same here.
It's annoying that I managed to get 75 minutes into the race, and I just accidentally downshifted one gear too many.
And then you spin, of course.
On one
Here, I
of
just
them,
backed out
the
of that
real
one.
tight hairpin under the bridge. I accidentally put it in neutral.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you bastard.
Also, before my big crash,
And this time I just couldn't hold it on the outside. Just cut the grass.
We both made the exact same mistake.
All right, yeah. Yeah, because I nearly spun there, and you were pretty close behind me, weren't you?
Yeah, but I did the exact same thing.
Right.
And I think you were waiting to let me go in case, but then you realised I did the same thing. You just off you went.
One of the nice things about the GTE cars is the BMW is not ridiculously overpowered like it is in GT3.
Anybody have an idea which steering wheel I should buy for Fanatec?
None of them.
None of them.
No. Well, I'm assuming when you say steering wheel,
I'm
you're about the
alright.
rim or you're about the whole system?
Oh, that's funny.
What?
I'm gonna go ahead and jump off TeamSpeak because they're just gonna chat amongst themselves for a while. Like I said, right now I'm mostly trying to rest my eyes for a bit because my right eye is still like everything on the screen when I'm only using my right eye. Everything is blurry, not super blurry anymore, but blurry enough. My left eye is back to normal now, though. Yeah, lawnmowers would be very interesting. And then for reference, the rest of today will mostly be practice for tomorrow's event, because I need to do quite a bit of practice with the GT3 cars in Assetto Corsa. So not going to be all that exciting after this point, but it'll at least be, it will be something. But again, I want to make sure my eyes are back to what they should be before I jump over there. This battle at the beginning with Pardo was really good, though, because I caught up to him very, very quickly, and then it took me way more laps than I expected to actually get the pace to pass him. I think he ended up making a mistake, if I remember right. Out of the last corner, and that's what let me by. That Viper sounds good. And it looks good. Said it a million times and I'll say it again. This is my favorite livery I've ever made. No, it's not my glasses. My glasses are actually fine. I just got new ones right at the end of last year. So it's definitely not the glasses themselves. And the reason I know it's not the glasses is because if I sit and play something else, like if I sit and play XCOM or actually that's the only other thing I'm really playing right now. But if I sit and play something else for an extended period of time, it's completely fine. So it's something to do with, I think it's a combination of my seating position and how intensely I'm looking at things in the distance in the screen more than anything. Which realistically, something like an Oculus Rift would probably completely cure that feeling because I actually have the depth that I need. But barring that, it's just sort of a combination of things. And one of the things that makes it much worse is the fact that the HDR is so over bright in RFactor 2, which makes it really, really difficult to deal with. Because that super bright sky combined with also a bright bottom is very tricky. And the crazy thing is, it's probably much brighter for you guys even than it is for me. My monitors are at, actually I don't remember, I think they're at like 25% brightness. Like they're so low on brightness. Yeah, my brightness is at 25%. And it's still too bright in this. Hey, Will. So again, the brightness is at 25%. The blue light is at 50%, and it's still too bright in RFactor 2. And I don't want to turn the brightness down too much more because it's going to make the rest of the games off a bit in terms of how they look and what they do. Who painted the Viper? This guy. It was an okay race. I definitely, if I had if I had had more time, wear sunglasses. That's funny. That's almost not a joke. That's funny. Yeah, the race went well enough. It was definitely not bad. This was the most exciting part of it when I was battling with Neil, and then once I got past him, it was sort of just after that, it's sort of just we all went into our rhythms. Towards the end, I started making more mistakes, but again, at least part of that is just my vision gets so bad at the end. But yeah, it was a pretty good race, all things considered. Again, I didn't have the pace of the guys ahead, which I wish I had, because at Sebring I did have the pace of those guys, so I know I am capable of going that speed. I just wasn't doing it here, and I think the bulk of it was my setup was a bit too slow in the important places. Again, I'm not one to blame the setup by any means, because I made the setup. It's my own responsibility. But I definitely could have gotten more speed out of the Viper, because I was really strong out of the corners. And I think if I could have kept that strength out of the corners, but also taken downforce off, and also if I probably could have stiffened the rear without sacrificing my corner exit, that probably would have helped also. Because my car was not as agile through the S's as it needed to be. Yeah, the replay will definitely be up as a VOD. I'm so far behind on YouTube that it's really hard. When you're like 3 weeks behind on uploading stuff, it's really hard to get the willpower to do it. Because I'm going to have to leave it overnight, and even then it might not be done by the morning. Monkey. Exactly, there's too much paint on it. Well, that's the thing, Brussels. For this race in particular, I had medium traction control and medium... Actually, I think I had a high ABS on. I just got to the point where in these cars, I enjoy myself more and I can go faster if I have those assists. Although, that being said, at Sebring, I didn't have those assists, and I actually went faster. So next time, I think I'm going to try turning them off again and seeing if I can get a setup really dialed in for it. But again, also I want to message Kevin and see if he's willing to send me a copy of his setup that I can compare to mine. Because I'd be really interested to see what differences there were. The main thing with Twitch's export is it doesn't allow me to put an intro and outro on it, which is the main problem. And I really like having those intros and outros on there. Because it's definitely possible to just export it from Twitch, but I like to avoid doing that if I can. I forgot how long I was behind Neil. I'll get to it eventually. It's just again, it will take a while, and then I'll get caught up with all the YouTube stuff, and then it'll start coming out every week again. Again, it's just finding that motivation when you're so far behind is much harder than when you're already on top of it, because you know there's extra work to be done, and particularly for video editing, it means when I'm rendering out those videos, the entire duration that's rendering, all the games that I play then play at about 15 to 20 FPS. So I have to have something else to do. Like, I can't watch movies, I can't watch videos. I basically can't use my computer for any visual thing during that time period. And yeah, that's where Neil made his mistake. So it's, for somebody like me, it's really tough to dedicate that much time to not having my computer available. Oh, that's what happened. Now, I want to see, did I brake earlier than he was expecting, or did he just carry too much speed? No, he just carried too much speed through. He wasn't going to make that corner anyway. Neil was really trying to push through there. I don't like to do that, Monkey, just in case something happens with the render, and also because nighttime is one of the few times that in this room the AC unit doesn't have to run. So in terms of money, if I have my computer on, particularly rendering, and it's really hot, the AC unit's going to kick on a bunch more. So it's actually not very cost efficient for me to do that at night. It's much more cost efficient for me to do that during the day. If you mean out of the last corner, Neil had a wiggle coming out. He lost the rear a little bit, and and I didn't, so I was just able to really push. But once I got ahead of him, I definitely had more pace than he did. It wasn't much, but it was enough to definitely open a gap once I got by. It's so interesting how that works in racing, though. Because when I was behind him, I never had a good enough run to really push in or out of the corner on him at all. But as soon as I got by, I just kept opening the gap. It's so wild. Like I look at the first half of my race, and most of my lines are really nice and crisp and solid and right on point. And then you look at the last like 4 laps I did, and they were just all over the place. The way this thing sounds when it's braking is wild. There were actually only 15 this time, unfortunately. Alright, so now what I'm really curious about is, let's go forward a bit. I'm going to go forward to when I was behind Van Oak. See if I can switch to his camera and see what in the world was going on during that time period. I may have already gone past it. I'm pretty sure I'm past it at that point. Sorry for the camera flipping around like that. That's probably not very fun to look at. Unfortunately, the fast forward just isn't all that fast. Because mostly I want to see his throttle and braking inputs. Well, that's the thing I was actually talking about during the race. When I first joined this series, there were about 26 people in the race. Then the next race, there were actually only about 18. Then the race after that, it dropped to about... who's that other... Oh, that's Curry. Then the race after that, it dropped again. So it was really weird how it dropped like that all of a sudden. Oh, here it's going to be one of these points. This is where he's caught up to me. Am I behind at this point? No. Okay, so there I am. So it's going to be one of these laps. So yeah, this is the first time I let him by. That actually worked better than I expected there. I would have preferred to have been on the inside, but because I already had taken that corner, it made more sense for me to just lift on the outside. Also, I tend to let Van Hoek by pretty quickly because he's not very patient at all. So it's much safer to just go ahead and let him by. My eyes are almost back to normal, by the way. So this is sort of the annoyance with it. If I spend a bit of time not... okay, so he's full on the gas. Yeah, he just completely gets out of the gas and hits the brake. Why was he doing that? Oh, he definitely had less downforce on. Oh, that might be if he was just going for fast laps. If he's doing that, that's really crappy, though. He was actually doing it specifically to try to get fast laps out of it. That's really ugh, behavior. Because then this lap up here, he just does the same thing. 'Cause he wasn't really pulling away all that much. Curious what in the world happened after that. Yeah, so does he do the same thing here? I mean, it might literally be the point where his pedals are just not working correctly or something. I think you're right. I think that's what he was doing. That's really crappy. Oh, to save fuel, maybe. I mean, it does work, but not if you're doing it this way. This is not the ideal way to do it. I'm the same, Will. I usually try to get my car stable more than anything. Unfortunately, that usually means it's a bit slower. Yeah, being very, very close behind a car will definitely save you fuel. But in order for that to save fuel, what you actually want to do is, let's say this is the car ahead, this is the car behind. I know my hands are facing each other, but it's easier that way. So this direction. So both of the cars are going this direction. What you actually want to do is the car behind, you want to stay right on their bumper, or as close as you can safely get to it, and actually lift. So you would be flat out coming out of the corner, and then as you approach their bumper, you back off to about 3/4 throttle usually, and then you're saving all of that fuel because you're not burning the maximum amount of fuel. You do that lap after lap after lap after lap, but eventually you will save fuel. But doing this is not saving fuel at all. And see, then he just comes into the pits. Is he actually pit, or is he just... No, he does pit. You're not supposed to do that either, by the way. Not supposed to cross this line. I wish the game would just give penalties for that. It's just the game itself would give you infractions for crossing that pit exit. It's one of the things I wish every racing game would do to get people to make safer pit exits. Oh, and this is where I saw later on where he's battling with Curry. Possibly. Van Oka's done some questionable things in previous races also. Particularly when it comes to passing. Oh wait, did he do the same thing here? He does the exact same thing here when Curry's behind them. Watch. Flat out, and then he lifts a bunch. And just accelerates and takes the space. Like, what is... I don't understand. I might just give the benefit of the doubt and post on the forum itself. Instead of making like a support ticket thing, just post straight on the forum in my sort of like race report. And just being like... Which you don't have to do, it's fun. But just be like, hey, what in the world was going on here? Ooh. Well, that explains what happened there. Oh. So wait, did he manage to get back on track at some point? I could have sworn I saw him circuit. No, okay. I was gonna say, I thought when you went back to the pits in this, it didn't let you go back out. Yeah, I want to show real quick the way my Viper pulled out of corners. with the Ferrari behind me. So this is what I was talking about during the race. It's going to be a little bit easier to see from this. Yeah, I thought he rejoined too, which was odd, but I guess it was Tobias. Tobias Lang is the other pink Porsche. So you can see the Ferrari has me in the corner, but then just look at the gap I pull coming out of the corners. It's insane. Like the Viper just destroys the Ferrari coming out of the corner. This time it was really, really close. This was literally the last lap. This is a fun viewpoint also. But I mean, look at that. Look at the legs this Viper has. You can see he's actually quite a bit better into the corner than I am. But just look at the gap. That's crazy. I didn't expect that from the Viper. This is the most evident corner, because the other guys get through that corner much better, and then just pulls away. Just immediate 2 car lengths, 3 car lengths, 4, 5. Like, that's insane. Well, my setup doesn't like the S's. Kevin's setup loves the S's. I'll try to find that part in a minute. I don't remember what lap it was. Should have been about 30 minutes in. Oh, that's when the craziness happened. Oh, he just went wide. I want to see this little sequence from his onboard. That was Venter, I think, yeah. I want to see what this looked like from his view. I mean, if you're actually racing a Viper as the Ferrari, this has got to be so frustrating. To have your foot as flat as it'll go, and the Viper just pulls away. You just stayed in it a little bit too long. Oh. In real life, that would be your day over on the last lap. Oh, man. Whew. That looked painful. That does not look like a Ferrari anymore. Oh. Alright, so now I want to try and find... It should have been about... Should have been about halfway through, because I think it was right when I came out of the pits. Basically, if I can find my pit stop. Unfortunately, the timestamps just aren't all that helpful. Here we go. It's also interesting that the I love hearing it refire. So here you'll see I come up behind. Kevin should be coming up, and I let him by. I think. Maybe it was like the lap after this. I thought it was right here. Oh, that was Tobias. Was it before the stop then? I swore it was after the stop. Oh no, that was Van Oak. There. Yeah, that does just go straight to the end. Dang it, I don't remember when it was in the race then. Alright, Brussels, catch you later. And the main reason I want to show it from my viewpoint is because it so beautifully demonstrates just how much better his car was through those S's than mine was. Not for sure, it was like right around my pit stop. While that's going, I'll go ahead and change my title. The start was actually the most interesting part. For my race, anyway. So now for a little while it's going to say that I'm playing the wrong game, which is fine. And fast forward, this car sounds funny. The backfires. I think this was all after my pit stop. Let's see, where's Kevin at this point? Compared to me. Just went through the hairpin. Okay, yeah, so it's not this. We're too far separated at that point. It's unfortunate that the track map doesn't work during this. I guess maybe from his view it's going to be easier to see when it was. Oh, it was right here. Huh. Oh no, that's when... Oh, that's a different Viper. That's not me. That's Neil. Unfortunately, the only place he's really gonna see my car is at the last corner. He was battling with Josh. I know it wasn't that early on. Oh well, I don't remember where it was. But basically, here, let me just grab a let's watch him through the S's once, and you can see just how much better his car works through there than mine. You just won't have the direct comparison, unfortunately, of seeing my car in the background. Because when he did go by, it was insane. Like obviously he was the leader, so I just let him by here, and then through the first couple corners, I was moderately up with him, and then by the end of the S's, there was probably, I don't know, 20 car lengths between the two of us. Like, he was so much better through those S's than I was. He was actually able to keep it a gear higher there than I was. His gearing might have been a little bit different. Oh no, he drops to third there. But I mean, you could see just how much more speed he has through these. But the car is a little bit loose, so he's working the car to get it through there as quick as he was getting it. So that is at least part of it. That was a fun event though. Definitely a fun event. Oh, show. Alright, so let's switch.